In this video, we're going to review the new features of the Oxygen 3.7 Alpha 1. Hi, my name is Stratos and I'm constantly producing video tutorials about WordPress. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. So, Oxygen released yesterday the version 3.7 Alpha 1, and with that some new features. One of those is the CSS Grid. CSS Grid is a layout, and it's a two-dimensional layout, so you can create something and play with the columns and with the rows in one single element. So we're going to see some examples. Let's go first, and here we have a portfolio, and as you can see, here you can create something like that using the CSS Grid. Of course, this can also be created using the Mansory layout, but if you're going to select the CSS Grid, you can choose yourself how many rows and how many columns you want for each photograph to take the space to occupy. And if we go to a newsmag theme, and this is something very common in the news themes for WordPress, you will see that this section has 5 posts from the same category, and this can be done using the CSS Grid. Also here we have some more posts. These are 6 posts, and it's using also something that you can create with the CSS Grid, and of course something like this also. I'm going to close all of those, and let's go to our page. Let's save that and start inside the section. I'm going first to add some icon box, and I'm going to duplicate that sometimes, and now I'm going to click in the elements and I'm going to select the grid. Now, when you select the grid, you have some features here that we're going to see one by one, but you have to know that I'm using here a static element, and this is the icon box. Of course, you can create something like that with the grid, but you can also create the layout that I'm going to create with columns and divs. The grid is very easy to use, and you can create faster than you could using the columns and the divs, but it's better when you see it working with the dynamic elements like the easy post and the repeater, which we're going to see later. So let's go, and first we're going to select the columns. So here we're going to select 3. Of course, we have a number and a slider here, and now as you can see, all of those grabbed 3 columns and starting one by one and occupy the space that they need. Here we can select the minimum width of the column, so we have 200 pixels, and then we have the max width, which is the whole row. This one FR, this FR unit is for the CSS Grid, and this means that it will take the whole row if it needs, so it will occupy the 3 columns here. Next we have the gap for the columns, and then we have the rows. In the rows we have the author or the explicit, and this means that if you choose explicit, you will select your own rows, and it will continue and have those rows no matter how many columns you select. But if you leave it auto and select here to have 5 columns, then you can see that we have 3 rows, and if I select 3 columns, I will have 4 rows. So it will automatically create or remove some rows depending on the columns that you have, and of course the elements, the child elements that are inside here. After that, we have the gap for the rows, and then we have the grid children elements that you can see here, and by clicking any of those I can select how many space I will want those child elements to occupy. And let's see what we can do. If I select here the first one, and I'm going just to give it a red color to be more easy to see. So let's go into the background, and I'm going for the background color of red. Let's go back to the elements, and let's go and click the first one. Now we have some column span and row span. This will take some numbers. Now, of course, if I'm using 1, nothing will happen, and this means that it will take 1 column and 1 row. This, of course, depends on how many selection that you have here, so how many columns and how many rows. If we select here 2, this means that it will take 2 columns, it will occupy the space of 2 columns and 1 row. If I had here 4 columns instead of 3, it will take 50% of the whole layout and not 66 as it is at this moment, this particular example. So here I'm going to select also 3 rows, and it will take the whole space, and as you can see, it's grabbing the space of 3 rows and 2 columns. This is only thing that is maybe difficult for some persons that haven't used a grid or something like that, and it's the first time that they've seen. It's very easy to understand. I don't think it's something it's difficult. And if I go and select here the Reset Grid Children, it will all go back as it were before. So this is all that you need to know, and you can start playing with that. So we're going here and we're going to select 3. So we have 1 whole row for this element, and then we can go and select the second one, which will grab, sorry, not from that. The second one is here. And by selecting here, I'm going to have it to go and 2 rows. And here I'm going for, sorry, again, my mistake here. Let's go for this one, and it will grab 2 columns, so we can create something like that. If I had some backgrounds, you would see how they looked, but I think it's easy to understand. Now, also we have the mobile version. So if we're going to select for the less than 992, we can select another template, another layout, and it will grab this layout only for the pixels that we have selected, only for that view. And if we go back to the PC for all devices, we will see that it has the view that we have selected there. So this is something really good. Let's go into the elements and let's go into the grid, and I'm going here to select just to reset. So I will have the standard version of 3 columns here. Okay, let's go and see if it's going to happen. No, it's not going to happen. So let's go back and here, and let's go 1 and 1. And then here, 1 and 1. And here, 1 and 1, and now I think I'm okay. Now this should work. This is a bug clearly, and I'll have to write it down just to tell Oxygen what are all the bugs that I have found. Now probably the Reset Grid Children or this view will just go back to how it was with the PC. So it's not really bug, it's how they planned it to be. So as you can see now, let's go and select here 1 and 1. And here again 1 and 1, and here again 1 and 1. And if we go and click the reset and click OK, we'll have now as it was for the PC. So this is how they designed it. I think it's best if they have something to go and select everywhere 1, and you don't have to go one by one in the mobile and the tablet version. And if we go and select something different for the other views, for the other width, you will have that exactly view and that exactly settings, which is great. So let's get rid of that again. And we're going also to add a new section. And we're going to add the EasyPost element. Now I'm using the EasyPost element because they have already created some presets for the grid layout. So I'm going for the query, I'm going to put here custom, and post types I'm going to select to be posts, apply, and now I have some post elements. As you can see, I have about 10 posts, and now we're going back, and as you can see, we have here the grid layout, and inside here I'm going to select grid. Now I'm going to select 3 columns or 4 columns and how many you want, and you can start playing with all the settings again. Now here, if we go back for the EasyPost, you can see that we have also some presets, and we're going to select a preset to see. Here is a grid CSS Grid glossy, so let's select that, and as you can see, this is how they have created. And let's go to another one. Let's go for a Mansory for a CSS Grid, and this is how we have the layout. So as you can see, it's very nice, it's something very unique, and you can create different layouts using the CSS Grid. Now something that I would like to say is when you're using the repeater element, let's go and use the repeater element instead of the EasyPost. So let's go for the repeater, and inside the repeater I'm going to create something for the posts. So let's go here, let's open the div, inside the div, and I'm going to select here to have an image first. So let's go for an image, and let's go and select data and featured image. For the image, let's go for a medium large, insert. And after that, I'm going for the title. So let's go to WordPress, dynamic data, and a title. And after that, we're going for a button. And the button will be here, button. And after that, in the button, I'm going to select that, and I'm going to have it to be the permalink. Okay, so back to our repeater, I'm going to select the query to be custom, and of course, to be the posts. Okay, apply. And now let's going to save. So we have created something that uses the featured image, after that the title, and after that the button. If I go into the div and select all of those to be centered, so we have something like that, and then I can go to the grid and select to have 3 columns again. Let's save that. And that was not inside the repeater, so I don't want here to have the grid. I want here to have those vertical, but inside the repeater I want to go into the grid layout, and I'm going to select grid and 3 columns. So now I have the grid that I want. Now keep in mind that if you select images right here, then you will have to go and select to be 100 width and 100% height every time. If you don't, you will have something like space, because it will not go beneath the aspect ratio of the image. So let's see how it looks, and let's go here and put here 2, so it will grab all the available space. And here, if we go to the second one, and if you select here to have 2 rows, you will see that it will not go beneath this, even though it should take all the available space here. It will not go beneath here. And this is because the image, it will not go after the aspect ratio. Now, of course, this is something that it has to be done, because if I go into the image and select for, let's go to a primer here, and if I select here 100 pixels, 100% and height 100%, it will be an awful image. You will see that this is not something that is quite right. Something is wrong with that. So if you want to select something like that with images, it's better to create a div here and have the images to be as a background. So I'm going to add here a div. Let's add a div. Okay, I'm going to remove the image, and I'm going to select the div also. Remember that the div doesn't have any height or width. It's empty. So I'm going to select inside the advanced, I'm going for the background, I'm going to select the image to be, of course, the featured image. The size should be medium large, insert, and then I'm going for no repeat. I'm going to select cover. So it will always have the correct aspect ratio of the image. It will not fail for the aspect ratio. Let's go for 50% here in the left. Let's go for 50% on the top. And now let's go back, and I have to go and give some space to the div. So I'm going for the width, 100% the space of the width. And let's go for height, 100% of height. Okay. So now I can go into my repeater element, and I can select something to play with. So let's go and let's put here 4. And basically it grabbed that, and as you can see, it expanded way bigger than what I would like. But it doesn't change the aspect ratio of the image. Of course, I have to go into the div and select here to have some more space inside here, or I can select this div and give it some static height. So I can go here and select size and spacing, and let's go for 300 pixels in height. So I have always something nice. Let's go for 400 to be a little bit better. 400. pixels. So as you can see, here is the height, and as you can see, this will have the same aspect ratio. Now it's not the perfect example, but you can see that doesn't destroys our images. And this is how you can use the repeater element, and this is how you can use posts. But because if you are going to use images, it will not go well if you are using static images or something like that. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to talk about is the Composite Elements library. So basically, Oxygen team creates some elements that are ready for us to use. There are elements that are created for the elements that we already have. So they grabbed divs, they grabbed code elements, they grabbed images, icons, text, and everything else that they already have. They added CSS, they added JavaScript, they added HTML code, and they created something for us to be ready to add in our pages. So it's not something that it's created from the beginning. It's something that they have already created in some of those videos, and we're going to see one of those. And they have created those elements to be ready for us to use, so you don't have to see how it's done and recreate it from the start, which is great. Now, if you are going to read all of those that they say here, you will see that the Composite Elements library will be available for everyone in the alpha phase. So once we are beneath the alpha phase and of course the beta phase and we reach the released candidate, then the Composite Elements will be no longer available except if you have already the agency license. So if you have the agency license, you can use that, and of course in the final release, the 3.7 version, you will be able to use those elements. If you don't have the agency license until the final version of the 3.7 is released, then no matter if you buy it after that, you will not get these composite elements. You will have to buy it separately. So as you can see here, the Composite Elements library will be a separate purchase for all new customers. For if you are going to buy Oxygen after the final version of the 3.7, if you're going to buy the agency, you will not have included the Composite Elements. So if you're going to buy Oxygen, please do it right now. Or else before the final version, of course, of the 3.7. Now, in my opinion, I don't know if I'm correct or not. Let's see the Get Now prices. When they released the 4 version of the Oxygen, I think that they will go for the normally price. So the discount will stop after the 4th version. Of course, I don't know anything. I don't have any information. This is my opinion. So if you do like Oxygen and you haven't bought it yet, please go and do that. If you do not buy the version 3.7, you will have to go and grab something extra. And this is same. You can do that right now by grabbing the agency plan. Let's go back and let's go here into the Composite Elements. And as you can see, at this moment, they have 17 Composite Elements. They're going to add more, of course, and they are going to improve all of those. Let's go and see. As you can see here, we have a documentation, and if we go and click here, we will see that we have the documentation of those elements. Some of those may have a configuration, and those configuration may be a little tricky for you to find. So you can go here and you can see that the condition will have if you want to have those open at the same time. So if you want 2 of those accordions, I don't know how they are named, to be open at the same time, you have to select here true. If not, it will only one of those will be opened every time. So once you open one, the previous one or the other one that it's opened is going to close. If we select here, then says back to the top, you will see that this says that we have the var scroll distance with 3 pixels, and this means that we will scroll down 3 pixels and then we will see the icon. It's very easy to understand what they mean, and of course there are some elements that don't have any other configuration options, so they say that the dashboard tabs composite has no special configuration options, and we're going to see of course some of those. Also here or anywhere else you can select the view demo, and this will go to Elijah website. Hopefully I said that correct. I'm hearing every time that I see the video, but I cannot remember his name. And as you can see here, we have all the elements that we have. If you hover to any of those, you will see a tooltip. And here I'm going to select the not mega menu. Let's go for number counter, and it will go to the number counter. And as you can see, this is how it looks. If we go and scroll up, it will have the mega menu with the green bullet here. And if we go here, we have the image comparison. Everything is working, as you can see, and this is how it will look once you add them on your website. We're going to add some of those, not of course everything, because it will be a very long video. So let's go into the repeater. I'm going to delete that, and let's go and add the section. And let's click add. Now once you click add, you will see that some icons have here the icon, the logo of oxygen, and this means that they are the composite elements. And we're not going to select the mega menu from the beginning. Let's go to the basics and let's go and select the drop down button. So let's go here. As you can see, this is what we have. Now, I would like also to point out that we have also something new here. As you can see here in the right pane, we have the pencil instead of the bars, of the 3 bars. And once you click the pencil, we have the same thing here. But also we have here an icon of an eye. Now, if you hover here, you will see that it says always hide, and this means that it will hide from the back end because you want to do something and you don't want to be distracted, or there is something that it's in your way because you have a hover effect, or you have effect that it will go up on the top of one element or the other. So let's go and add another picture down there. An image, not a picture. Okay, image. So once I select here the image, and I'm going to select something for the image. Let's select this one, and I'm going to select this image. I'm going to save it. I'm going to see how it looks in the front end. And as you can see, I have the image here, and I'm going to select the image again, and I'm going into the selections, and here I'm going to hide it, as you can see. Now I'm going to save it, and I'm going to refresh. Let's see, it's saved. Okay, let's refresh. And as you will see, this is not to hide an element. If you want to hide it, you will have to go inside the layout and hide it. This is only for the backend and for you when you're using something to create and you don't want to be distracted, or another element is in your way. So it's very good that they added here. Now, as you can see, this is the element is the drop-down button. And once you add that, we will see now, let's close the image first. Let's hide it since we have it. So here we have the drop-down button as it says here. And the drop-down button is basically a div, as you can see here. This is the structure. This is the div. This is the code, the code block. And then we have the trigger, which is another div. And inside here we have the label, which is the text. And we have the icon, which is this one. After that, we have the sub menu, which is the div, and then we have the sub button, which is a link wrapper. Now, everything are created and named, so it's very good that we have here to know what we're dealing with. And if you see, they already have also created the class that you want to use. So if you select the class here, you can change the font, the color of the letters or anything else, and it will go for the same layout for all of those child elements. And this will be done for all the composite elements that they have. They have already created and add the classes and everything else. So if something is not working, it's probably be a bug because they are doing the best and they are creating something as they're supposed to do. So I really like that once you add here the action, and let's go and select not image, let's go and save that and refresh. If you go into the actions and select here, it will not push the image down, it will just stay on top of the image, and it's very nice to see that. In first I was curious if it would push the image down, so it doesn't. And here of course you can select anything that you want and change the text instead of login. Let's say that we want an icon or we want to add something else. You can do that by just triple click it and change what you want. Sign up now. And after that, of course, I can also select inside the sub button and I can add here an icon. And I can give this icon a class, and let's see the class of this to keep it straight. So I'm going here and triple click it. Okay, it's a little bit difficult to do. Okay, and now I'm going into here and I'm going to select here and see how they have it named OxyL. Okay, drop down button, yeah. Sub menu button, and instead of label I'm going here for an icon. So I'm keeping the same layout as they have in the CSS, and here I have already created my class. I'm going to add that class, and now I can just duplicate that icon 2 times, and I'm going to add this inside all of those elements. So let's go here and this icon inside here, and we're good to go. So let's start by changing the color. So I'm going for a red, and I'm going, of course, for an icon size of 10, 20. And now I can select for the sign up now to have something like a person, a user. Okay, for the login, I can select something for, I don't know, enter. Do we have enter? Login, something like that. And for the contact me, I can go and select an envelope. So they're very easy to use, as you can see. Just play with that a little bit and you can do many more things. They are very expandable. And that it's not the correct word. Expansionable. I don't know. Sorry about that. So I'm going to delete that, and we're going to add another element. Let's go and delete that. And let's unhide the image just to have it around here. And let's go for another one. As you can see, we have the icon button, which is something that you can create very easily using just a div, an icon, and a text. Also, this has a link wrapper, but it's something that it's ready to use. And if you add this 4 or 5 times, you will see that everything are linked together. So I'm going into this icon. I'm going to select the class because it's not already created, and I'm going to change the color to something else. Let's go for something like green, and we're going to see that it changes everywhere, which is great. Let's go and delete that. And let's go another one. Also, we have the horizontal divider, which is using, if we select here, we will see that it's using the code block, some icon, and a code block for the right line. So we have, let's select here, we're going to the advanced, and we're going into custom CSS. Have I select the code block? No. Left line, okay. Let's go for the CSS, and we're going to see that it grabs the flow, flex flow 1. It means that it's going for the whole space that it can. It will go full width. And now we just give it a height, because the code block doesn't have any height, and a background. So let's go for the sizing and spacing, and let's go for the divider here. I think here is the height. Sizing and spacing, here is the margin 16. Okay, it's not the height here. Let's go for the background and see if it's here. No, it's not here. So have I select the background? Yeah, this is the one. So let's go and select the color. Let's go to advanced, and I'm going to select myself the color. So let's go for background color for red, and let's go for a size of the height, sizing and spacing, and let's go for height 3 pixels. So you have something like that. Let's save that, and now you will see that you can see that I have something like that. Also, if I edit that in the class, it will always take the layout here also. Let's delete that. Let's go for another one. Let's go for the hover scrolling image. So we can see here that we have a div, we have the code block, and here we have a hover scrolling image icon. In the icon, I can select, of course, the color, so I can give it a little bit of blue, and we will see that it will go for blue, and I can also change the background and everything else, the size and anything else. If we go to the hover scrolling image code, we'll see the CSS and of course I think the HTML. Does have an HTML? No, it doesn't have an HTML. And if we go here, we can select another background. Now keep in mind that once you duplicate that, and we have two of the same elements, if we're using here the scroll image and select the class and change the background here, it will go for both of those. So here you want to select the ID, and here you can go into the background and just delete that and change it with something else like that. So it will not go for both of those. Let's delete that. And let's add a mega menu. I think it's time, so you can see how it looks. Section, let's go for the mega menu. Add and mega menu. Okay. Of course, once you start playing with an element, you should always see first inside here if you need something to do to change the configuration. So if we go here to the mega menu, we will see that here we have some configuration options if we want to add more than one mega menu link. So let's go and add one more link and see what we mean. So I'm going to duplicate that, the whole mega menu. So as you can see here, we have the mega menu here and the mega menu here. Now here I'm going, I can change anything that I want. I can change here the background color. I can change, let's go for blue, and also it will go here because I want to have something like that in the same menu. And of course the text now is awful, so I have to go and change the text color to white, and this because it's the ID, so let's delete that. And let's go for the class, and here I'm going to select the white, so I have it in both elements. Now let's go here and I'm going to select here heading 1 and menu item 1. Let's save that and let's go in the front end. And as you can see, I have the mega menu link 1 and the mega menu link 2. Now, as you can see, no matter whatsoever I hover, I will not get anything changed. So I don't have the menu heading 1 and the menu item 1. This is not a bug. If you go and read the configuration options that they have here, is because you have two mega menu links and you have not changed anything for the configuration. So you have to go first inside the mega menu link here, mega menu label. You have to go into the advanced attributes, select here another number, no, not here, in the parent here, and then go to advanced, go to attribute, and here we have the 1. Okay, this is the 1, and this also element is the 1, the mega menu wrapper. Then we're going to the second one, which is the mega menu link, and here we're going to put the number 2 because this is the second one. If you have 3, you're going to put the next one to be 3. And after that, we're going also into the mega menu wrapper, into the advanced, into the attributes, and we're going here to put also 2. So it knows that once you hover this link, it will open this layout, this div. Save, and then if we go and refresh here, we will see now here that we have the menu heading 1 and the menu item 1. Of course, since we're having divs, we can select anything that we want, and we can change however we want these mega menu elements. We have 3 columns and we have divs. Remember to, of course, see how it looks in the mobile version, and I would recommend to create another menu just for the mobile version because the mega menu doesn't look good in the mobile. So let's save that and let's open 1 or 2 more elements, and then we're going to wrap up the video. So let's go and add, let's go for another one. In helpers, we're going to add a dynamic slider. And in this dynamic slider, you can add the easy post elements or the repeater elements, so you will have dynamic slider, for something that it's not static, of course, since it's dynamic. So as you can see here, the slide is only 1. If you have created a slider, you you may remember that you have to create 2 or 3 slides and then go inside the slides and change anything that you want. But here you can just have inside the slide container a repeater and then a slide, and then change whatever you want in the slide. It will go inside and then go inside the repeater and select what you want to grab. So you want to grab the post, go ahead and select the post here. It's very easy to play with and create something. Let's go also here, let's go and delete that dynamic slider, and let's go and also select something like a switcher. Okay, and as you can see here we have the year and the monthly. Now here we have, let's see what we have here. We have the code. This is the code block, which is what it takes for all of those to work. So we have the CSS here, and if we go here we will see also the JavaScripts here. So they have already created everything for us. You can see of course those two from the back end, but if we go in the front end we will see only what we're supposed to see, and if we change here to monthly we will see the other tabs. So this is only for you to change. Collapse editor. So if you make here a change, let's go and not change the color for everything else. Let's go for a red one. Let's save that, and we're going to see here that it's changed only inside here, the yearly, and as you can see it's working very well. So this is where we're going to stop the video, and I'm very excited for this update. It's something that we have and it's unique to play with, the CSS Grid, and of course the Composite Elements that we are going to help you create something unique. And now if we go and read about the Composite Elements, you will see that of course they are marked with Oxygen logo as it says. They insert and pull from the server, similar way DesignWorks sets. So they have the classes, we have the menu, the names for the divs and everything else, and they have some via code blocks, so they have some HTML, some JavaScripts, and some CSS, some of those of course. Now one thing I would like to point out is, because they are something that are created from already elements from Oxygen, if you find somewhere a bug or something else, in most cases it will be fixed by adding something inside the code. So if this doesn't work in a mobile, or if you find that once you add an element here it will go and make something different elsewhere, this means that inside the code there is a problem. So maybe you will contact Oxygen and they will go inside the switcher code, which is the code block, and inside the JavaScript they will go and fix some line or add something else. Once they do that, it will be fixed and you will not have to wait for the next release or the next update of Oxygen for that to be fixed, which is amazing. Now one thing that I would like to see from Oxygen is another link inside the website, some posts or something else that will say what they have fixed before the release version. So if someone contacts them and say that this switcher has a problem and they fix the problem for that person, they should have somewhere documentation or something else that they could say that the switcher has a problem, so everyone just copy this code and go and paste it inside the JavaScript and everything will be fixed. So it will be a lot faster for you not to go and reinvent the wheel and see what it has for bugs and everything else. So if someone already has found a bug and it was fixed for him, you will just go into a source page, into a documentation. You will see that you have something to add inside the code of an element. You will go copy the code and paste it inside the element. Hopefully I was clear about that. I will of course send that idea into Oxygen and hopefully they will think about it. So that was all for the video. In this release, by this release, they added here some elements and they just destroyed 2 videos that I have already created and I will have to recreate again. I created a video how to add a table of content inside a single post template by using another plugin, and I will have to recreate it. And also I create a video about how you can grab a code from another website, an HTML, CSS, and have it pasted inside your page, inside an element, and recreate something amazing. So I'm going to recreate both of those videos, sadly. Okay, so thanks for watching, guys. Hopefully I will see you all in the next video. Give me a thumbs up if you like it, and if you want any more details or you want to see any of those elements, a specific video about those elements, please leave it down in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I will put all of those links about Oxygen in the description of the video. Thanks, guys, and bye.